Okay, so welcome back to my channel. So today I have a video request from Psychic Zaya. And to preface everything that I'm going to say, I want to give a little bit of background on how I'm going to answer these questions. So I'm going to give like a very, I want to say probably lengthy and detailed response to each question, and it's about 3 of them, and I'm going to give some extra information on each question. And also mind you that I'm coming from the perspective of an occultist as opposed to a witch. I don't want to say just a witch, but I want to say an occultist. And the difference is with a witch and an occultist is occultists study a lot of the laws of nature. We may study science. We may study parapsychology. We read everything that we can get on about magic and maybe remote influence. So we have such a wide array that we pull from when we deal with anything magically. We have a hell of an arsenal to be an occultist. And most occultists go way back. So we don't really, and no disrespect, but, and maybe some do, well, the older occultists and most of the occultists that I'm kind of referring to when I'm speaking right now are occultists who are probably like in their 70s and who grew up in the craft, were brought into the craft through family or friends or something like that, and they studied everything about magic, the occult, their entire lives. So they know about voodoo, hoodoo, chaos magic. They know about LeVay. They know about Hermetic Golden Dawn. They've read grimoires. They've read the Necronomicon, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and the Technonomicon or something. That was like another book that was part of that. And that's my background. That's my background. So when I say I've been doing this 30 plus years, it's just that, okay? And I came up where I followed behind people older than me who created that path. So I think I mentioned like Austin Osman Spare, like some of the greats, Crowley, LeVay, Peter Gilmore even, who is still living, I hope. Those are the people whose texts that I read. It was read and then it was do. So with all of that, this is the foundation of everything that I'm saying. And I'm coming from an occultist point of view as opposed to a witch. And like I said, a witch focuses on witchcraft and probably different forms of witchcraft or different types of witchcraft. That's very wide. I could go on forever about, especially nowadays, what would make a witch, because you can have a pagan witch, a Christian witch, and all these differences, okay? However, to not be here all night, witches basically focus on the craft of magic and spells, spell casting, maybe having a book of shadows or something like that. They may or may not worship deities. They may or may not worship gods, things like that. So that's, and you mentioned something about jars and candles. They do that sort of thing, as opposed to an occultist who we may be into pyromania, we may be into telekinesis. We study all of that because to us, all of that is attached to the magical experience or being able to do magic. We also talk about, or we also study the astral realm, out-of-body experiences. We may study dream books, astrology, tarot. Like I mentioned, I've been doing tarot since I was, not to date myself, but I'm old, and I've been doing tarot for at least 30 years. So that is the bulk, and again, that's all of the experience that I'm going to use to answer these questions, okay? And thank you for trusting me, or thinking that I could possibly answer these questions, because I know this particular channel is new, okay? So I really do appreciate you asking me, okay? So your first question is, you said, or your statement is, I would like core techniques to harness one's internal power of magic / manifestation. And when I first read that, I was reading that and I was doing probably about 3 different things at the same time. And now that I can sit down and read that, that is very deep to say, I would like core techniques to harness one's internal powers of magic. So when you say a core technique to do it, and to also give a little bit of a background too, you had mentioned, you had first messaged me off of my natural witch video, and you were asking me, how does one become a natural witch? So I also want to give a little bit of that foundation to piggyback into this, so that other people who are watching this video will also kind of know a little bit about the background. So hopefully you all have watched my natural witch video, Do Natural Witches Exist? So I'm gonna give a little bit of information, because that's really the foundation of her questions, okay? So I did a video talking about that natural witches do exist. They very well do exist. And a natural witch is a person who is born into the craft, or born, I don't want to say born, it could be born into the occult, born into the craft, and they recognize that they have natural abilities. Now, we're not talking about anything Disney, but we are talking about that they have the power of manifestation. They have the power to make things happen. They may be clairvoyant also. They may have issues, or have the ability of telekinesis. They may have different sorts of abilities, okay? And they know that at a young age. Some people, they may be a great tarot card reader very, very early on, like spot on, and sing a little bit more into the cards than the average person does, okay? So this is a person who also doesn't use props. Now, I have to, disclaimer, if you use props, I'm not knocking you, I'm not shitting on you. A matter of fact, I'll just give a little bit of what, or how I came up on my path. I studied so many things. I read like the Kabbalion, I read a lot of grimoires, Necronomicon, I mean anything that I could get my hands on. And practicing came, I read and studied first, and then I picked up things, and I learned how to do the craft. I learned the craft physically. So I've always heard of that armchair witch, or armchair whatever. That never made sense to me, because you can't call yourself a doctor if you never went to school, if you never went to medical school, and you can't call yourself a surgeon if you've never operated on anyone, if you understand what I'm saying. And if we look at regular school, with normal school, you study and then you do. You study, you read, you learn, and then you apply your knowledge. So that's how I came up in this craft as well. So a natural witch, with all of that information, a natural witch will come up. They may, you can say they may or may not very early on. And we're talking about early on, like young, maybe like before teenage, or maybe like their adolescence or teenage. They may, it depends on how they meet it, how they are introduced to the craft, if they find it on their own. Some may or may not use props. They may not use candles or herbs or anything like that. They may not. When I came up in it, I started to use like candles and things like that, but I wasn't really big on, oh, you need goat's hair or you need Billy Goat's gruff and all. I wasn't into that, okay? I really wasn't into that. So very early on, it made sense for me to improvise and to use what I had available. So that immediately pushed me more into the Wiccan direction, okay? So after that, and for those of you who know me already, you know that I've traveled a lot. When you are on the go, you don't have time you can't pack up candles in books and things and try to do things, okay? You have to go, you have to take your energy and your power, and you have to be able to direct it. So this is going to go into your question: how do you harness the core, or what are core techniques for you to harness your internal power of magic. Well, I'm just going to cut it at harnessing your internal power. First of all, you have to study. You have to study. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have a foundation. You can't do anything without a foundation. It's like trying to go to school, trying to become a doctor, and you don't take any medical classes, or you don't take biology or anything. You have to have your foundation down pat, okay? And you have to learn, and you have to study. You have to find what moves you, what you have a sort of, I almost want to say, an emotional response to. And I do understand that the way people are perceiving magic nowadays, and I'm going to get into that, in a whole nother video, is changing. Okay, because we're talking about previous generations. So we're talking about silent generations. I don't even remember who was before the silent generation. We're talking about boomers, how boomers learn magic, silent generation, pre-silent generation, and then Gen X, and then on down, how we all kind of related to it. And you have to realize that the older generations, they may have had goat's hair or feather dust or something like that, but that was because those were the tools that were in their environment, okay? And so you use what's in your environment to learn, but you do realize that they are what they are, they're props. The number one thing that you're gonna need to do magic, this is anyone, is the power of your mind. This is what a natural witch is. A natural witch centers herself, or centers himself, grounds themselves, and they direct and project their magic. Now, this is the thing, especially with today. If you are, and like I said, we're just talking about as far as the craft is concerned. We're not getting into anything personal. But if you do have problems with bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, things like that, back in the day, the old ones, the elders, people older than me, and I'm old, always said that those people should not be in magic because of the ways that the elders practice, the way that the natural ones or the older ones practice. They knew that there was so much energy that had to be quote unquote harnessed and directed and projected in order to get their direct result. And scattered energies always create a problem, okay? So with that foundation, going back to the beginning, you have to have a foundation. You have to study. You have to see which moves you. And see, when I talk to people about witchcraft, I always include the occult, because it's all connected and it's all layered in one. It's all layered in a stack, so to speak. Okay, and like I said, parapsychology, telekinesis, clairvoyance, psychicism, it's all just different layers that your person, that this witch or warlock or whomever is going to be able to tap into. These are all just different layers that they're going to be able to tap into, okay? So after you build your foundation, after you figure out which direction that you want to go into, you like I said, you have to harness the power of your mind. It's really harnessing the power of magic is harnessing the power of your mind, okay? So you have to be able to focus. You have to be able to project. Can you quiet your mind down? Do you meditate? These are nowadays, and I'll get more into this on my Patreon. That's why you all got to sign up. These are the things that you have to have down pat nowadays. It's wicked out there. It wasn't that wicked out there 10, 20 years ago. I'm just going to keep it real with you all. It's wicked out there. It's blood sport out there. You need to have your defenses up, okay? You have to have your defenses up, okay? And having your defenses up, you have to be mentally on point. You have to be focused. You have to be mentally strong. You know, you're not going to always have the opportunity to grab a book, to grab a candle, to grab some dirt or some dust or something or whatever. You're not going to have that opportunity. You know, you want to be out there and have laser focus, so that if you need to get into that mind and get into that state, that you can call that state right up, wherever you are, grocery store, at work, at the gym, wherever you go, that you can call on things. I'm telling you, because things pop up nowadays. Everyone's practicing nowadays, and everyone's trying to practice. If you are someone who is successful, attractive, dresses well, just all the minute stuff, you might have a hater, and you may have someone who may have it out for you. And sometimes there's still that group of people who can throw negative energy without actually being witches and actually being warlocks. So you're gonna need all your protection, okay? It comes mind first. Mind first. Think mind first. Your mind is the most powerful thing. Like they always said, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. That was an understatement. They used to say that back in the 70s or 80s. Don't worry about that. However, it is true. A mind is a terrible thing to waste because it is the most powerful thing. The most powerful thing ever. And if you, I'll go more into that on my Patreon Sunday. Okay? You need to be able to have laser focus so that you can project and you can direct at any moment. Okay, so that's going to be the core technique right there. That's a core technique, learning how to do that. And the trick to it is you have to learn how to do that to the best of your ability. Okay, to what is more comfortable for you, what feels more, what's easier, which way is more efficient, which way do you get the most benefit, which you can quickly focus and send out a thought, or quickly reach different states, or go to different states, transcend different states, and not realms, we haven't get there yet, but states quickly. How can you do that quickly? So you have to be able to do that, and that's all mental. So mentalism is another thing that you can study if you decide. I always say there's a choice between you becoming a witch, and there's a choice between you becoming an occultist. To become an occultist is a lot more work. It's a lifelong journey. Okay, a lot of people, and I'm not knocking anyone. I'm gonna welcome the baby witches too. I'm not gonna knock. I've just seen a lot of things over the years, but this is not towards anyone who is watching this video. Okay. I'm welcoming all the baby witches, okay? Because, hey, we're living in a different world right now, and many are called, okay? So, the power of your mind is going to be the most important thing. Now I'm going to move on to the next one. You said, instead of doing a candle or using a candle, we should what? Already covered that, the power of your mind. Stop using it. Just stop using your props. Just stop using them. Just stop using them. Train yourself. Everything is training. It's like I don't want to say it's like the military, but hey, it's like the military. The military trains you right off the bat. They instill that discipline in you. You're gonna need discipline in order to be on this path. You probably have been around the path long enough to know dabblers are not respected. Dabblers are not respected. Dabblers tend to their lives up and shit up. Excuse my language, because I'm on a cursing diet. And they go to the older ones, or the wise elders, to try to fix it. So dabblers typically don't have any respect on the path, but it's well worth it. All of us would tell you that it's well worth it. It's an education that keeps giving, that transforms your whole entire life in ways that no other education can. Okay? Everything that you go to school and learn is going to help you on this physical plane, and that's great. That is so great. But magic and the craft and the occult is the foundation of it all. It's the foundation. It works with every single thing. If you go to school to learn language, the occult can be there, because you have all these grimoires that are in different languages, okay? Different texts, okay? And if you can get into finding deities, and there's a deity that speaks in every culture of every ethnicity that has different texts. So, like I said, the occult is there at the foundation of everything, as well as the craft as well. Okay, so you said instead of doing candles, we should. Okay, what should you use? It's the same with jars, herbs. I'm personally not a big jar person. Of course, I don't really use a lot. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, I have things around. Like I have candles. I have some sage. I have incense, things like that. But a lot of those things are things that I would use if people were coming over. Okay, like if I had company or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? Um, as far as those things being magical tools, um, I'm the magical tool. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm the magical tool. Those are just like props. Like I'm wearing right now, I'm wearing a skull right here. I love skulls, certain skulls though. And I wear this skull, and this is hematite. This is hematite, and this is Swarovski. So that's a little bit more of the reason why I wear it, because it's a shikimiki type of skull. However, do I think I'm getting some power from it? Absolutely not. I'd like to believe, but no, I don't think so. Because I've tested this, and those of you who know me know that I always say, if you're going to get on this path, you have to become a scientist. Okay, you have to do your spells, write them down, try them, and record the results. You have to become your own scientist on this path. This path demands that of you. And I myself have worn different types of jewelry and crystals and all that. Like I said, I have all that. I've been doing this for a long time. But what I've come to learn is that I can be in a situation and have all this on and nothing. However, if I go and I go raise some energy and I go direct some words and I put my words out there. Okay, now we know we may not be Christians over here. However, we know the Bible talks a lot about words, okay, and the power of words, okay? All right. Jesus didn't have any, trinkets. He wasn't burning candles and things like that. But the book, and I believe Rosicrucianism, that's the part of Christianity that talks about Jesus and the miracles that he performed as if they were real things. They make mention of that he didn't have any tools. Okay, he made things happen by his will, his thoughts, his connection to whatever higher power or deity or whatever, or God or whatever, and his words. Hopefully I'm not being redundant, but his words. Okay, so that is, you can take that same framework. It's all throughout history. Words are powerful. Energy is powerful. When you study, become one with yourself. That's what you have to do. And I notice your name is Psychic Zara. So if you are relating to the psychic title, you already have a part of yourself that hopefully that you have a lot of faith in, hopefully that you have a connection with. Otherwise, your revelations are going to be a little bit, being a psychic, clairvoyant, clairsentient, all of that is going to rely on you having a relationship with yourself, a relationship with your energy, with your body. That is a prereq, okay? So with you already having a leg up in that field or in that area, all you have to do is start to hone and start to discipline and start to test. Start to focus, then test. Focus, then test. Focus, focus, study, focus, and test. Those three things. Study, focus, then test what you learn. Test what you learn. Always test. I still test today. I still test new things. Why? Because I don't know everything. And number two, magic is changing. This planet Earth is different. I gotta talk to my occultists about that. And I'm not gonna hijack your video right now, but I'm just saying magic is changing. Okay? We live damn near on a different type of planet than we did 10, 20 years ago. So if you're still doing magic like the old ones, we gotta have a conversation, okay? We have to have a conversation, okay? Next. Okay, so we already talked about the candles, we talked about the jars, the herbs. I don't use those, but respect to those of you who do. Okay, this is if you come on my channel, You see that I try to be all inclusive. I even try to include Christians over here, okay? It's all about people trying to uh, own their power and learn how to, like you say, harness your energy, and so that you can change your whole life, so you can live a better life and maybe help other people live a better life too. That's what this is about. So I don't care if you use herbs, bones. I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You're welcome here. This channel is for you. Okay. So, okay, you said, do I know any specific techniques for evoking a particular deity to help with manifestation? Okay, so now this part of the video, we're going to talk about deities, okay? We're going to talk about deities. So, again, we're going to go back to you finding and exploring to build your foundation. So you're going to just read everything that you can get your hands on, really. That is my advice. Read everything that you can get your hands on, from hoodoo to voodoo to chaos magic to there are some Satanists who do magic, and there are Satanists who don't. You also have Luciferians. You have Wiccans, elemental magicians, which you hardly hear anything from. They're so powerful. I mean, sometimes I think they get lumped in with Wiccans. But you get pagans. You have pagans. You have so many paths to explore and to find, as far as to learn about, as far as finding a deity. Okay, because I noticed that sometimes, and I don't recommend this route. I know a lot of times people who don't really have a foundation or a strong foundation in magic, what they will do is they will go and they'll see whatever problem they want, or whatever type of issue that they're dealing with. So say for instance, like I said, they have no foundation, but they want to find a love partner, right? So they'll type that in on Google or something like that, and maybe Venus will come up, Aphrodite will come up, or just different people depending on their slant. So there may be someone in voodoo or something, I need to contact Papa Legba, and also I need to, Ezra Danta or something like that. There are so many different people or different types. Or if you are familiar with brujeria, and I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I know I'm speaking real flat, but if you're familiar with that path, you may be looking at deities or gods and goddesses on that path. You have to kind of find your flow. Or you may say, well, hey, I'm Nigerian, so I want to deal with Nigerian gods. Typically, people will be like that. What I always hope and push people to do is, before you go and invoke a deity, you got to know everything about that path. Know as much as possible about that path, but you need to know everything about that deity, okay? Because I've told stories on my previous channel about me knowing people who thought that they were going to become a Satanist. They were mentally unstable, thought that they were going to bring their tail over to Satanism, and but either King Bilal and some of the others didn't give them a warm welcome, and I think that maybe they, I think they gave them a little bit of and this is in I can talk about demons and Goetic, the Goetia, and angels. None of these entities, and none of these spirits, and none of the gods, even no matter what path you choose, like to be used for anything, unless, and I will say unless you have a deep relationship with them. Now, you can invoke them, and you can deal with a deity that you really don't know, and they may be nice enough. And I know I am anthropomorphizing this because we're just talking about energy. Us humans make these entities male or female. Just keep that in mind too. That's the next layer. However, we may go and they may throw us a couple of bones. We may do a money spell and say, well, okay, well, I'm going to contact Boone for some money. Or I'm going to contact Clawneck for money. And, you know, maybe they'll be nice enough to give you something, okay? I know at this point, I know who I can call on and who I can't call on, who don't even pick up for me, okay? And some of us are gonna have that, and that's just kind of how it is in being on the path. Not all entities are gonna pick up for you. They're not. They're not. They're not. Okay. So you may get one who may throw you a couple of bones, give you a couple of, you know, thousands or something like that, and so you may be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep asking, and you know, I haven't really gotten to know this entity, but I'm just gonna keep asking. Okay, so they'll give you the runaround, and I'm just being nice. Some will give you the runaround, some will lead you down a dark path of danger to get that money. Some will not give you anything if they're nice. They just ignore you. But some will have you become half dead, or get stuck up, or murdered in order to get the money. Okay, this is the thing about deities. When you deal with deities or gods or goddesses, or you know, Loa or all that, you have to study. You have to study everything you can get your hands on, and you do want to talk to elders, especially on certain paths like that. Like, was it Bruharia? You want to talk to the elders of that path. You want to talk to elders, definitely of voodoo. And one thing I respect about voodoo is that it is a religion, and they not just letting anybody in. They like Scientologists. They just you got to pay your fare, okay? You got to pay your toll to even deal with them, and I love it. And that's how it should be. People don't want you using their gods and their entities for a come up, you know. And that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing we'll get into on Patreon as well. However, just giving you the foundation. Study each path, or study each path. Figure out what you want your magical style to be, okay? And then study up on the deities. Learn what name that they're called in this language, what name they're called in that language. With this race of people, you'll find that too, okay? You'll find that too, that some of these entities are actually called different names amongst different races, okay? You'll find that. But you have to, I would say, build a relationship with this god, goddess, entity, whatever. And you want to take your time and do that, and they'll lead you. You'll get led. You'll have your inclinations, like you say. Your name's Psychic Zaya. So you already have that ability. So you'll be able to easily contact them and know when to move forward and when not to move forward. But put it like this: how we have anthropomorphized these entities is the same way we've given energy human characteristics. Basically, what we've done. Okay, so put it like this, and this energy can feed off of something. Okay, if energy can feed off of so much focus, that's something else, and my chaos magicians may know where I'm going with that. But like an egregore, we've created, basically all these guys are egregores anyway. So with that, you want to be able to, like I said, build that connection with them, and they'll lead you down the path that you need to go. Okay, and hopefully you're already at the point where you're trusting yourself, because you're going to still need to trust yourself even when you're dealing with entities. You still have to trust yourself. You can't give yourself all over. No matter if it's Aphrodite, you can't give yourself, oh, I sacrifice myself, or I do this. We're not doing that. No, you don't do that. Now, that may differ on different people's paths. But I'm not going to say I'm just going to say that's a choice that you're going to have to make. I'll be very PC and tactful. If you want to sacrifice yourself for an entity, please make sure that it's the right entity and you're not doing it with a Ouija board. That's number 2. And make sure you have a connection, and that you are crystal clear with whom you're sacrificing yourself to and how, okay? And that's, like I said, that's another thing. So that would be the specific techniques that I would give about dealing with deities and energies, okay? And it is a rabbit hole because, like I said, I'm coming from the perspective of an occultist, not just a witch. It's not, I don't have to evoke a deity. I don't have to evoke an entity. I don't. But that's my makeup, okay? And I understand that, you know, you may want to. Sometimes you may want to. Sometimes you just want to whatever. But, and I want to also tell you that it may come about that you don't have to evoke anything to get anything done as well. That's the part of being a natural witch. You don't have to rely on entities. You rely on the power within. Now, last, I'm going to close out this video about being a natural witch. And I know there's some out there, and hopefully there's some who are watching this video, and you can message me. My email is on my YouTube page, and you can send me an email about that, or better yet, join the Patreon, okay? As far as natural witches, it's a blessing and a curse, okay? Having power is a blessing and it is a curse, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you, if you are a natural witch and your abilities are coming from within, that is a source of your power, not the outside, not the candles, not the herbs, not the bells, not the wands, not the ethemaes, not the cloak that you wear, not the outfit, not I'm wearing all black, not the makeup. None of that is your source of power. If you are a natural witch, okay? Your source of power is all of this that is within you. So with that, you got to keep yourself charged up. And this world out here will burn you dry. You understand me? And I'm not pushing you, okay? This world will drain the soul out of your body, okay? People, you know, would laugh. I come up here and I, like I said, I had a previous channel, which I'm going to shut down. And I used to talk about my experiences with people. These people that inhabit the planet right now are not the same people who inhabited in the 70s and the 80s and in probably the 60s. I can probably bet a couple of breaths on that, okay? It's not the same group of people, okay? There's something in the fabric of this new human being that is on this planet. You will be spent, okay? You're going to need to spend more time alone with yourself, recharging your batteries. And that's just the fact. Trying to go out 5 days a week, 7 days a week, all of this. Oh, I'm running here, I'm running there. If you're a natural witch, that will be the end of you, okay? That will be, I'm just going to keep it all the way real. And I keep it real. I've always kept it real when we talked about this on this channel. I've always kept it real, and I'm going to tell you, you will be drained dry, okay? Your battery will be on empty, okay? And most of these people out here, a lot of these people do not have the energy or the juice to refill you back up, to recharge you. They don't. And I'm talking to my natural witches, and they know. My natural occultists, natural born, whatever. You all know I am not you, okay? You go out in that world, you will be sucked dry dealing with people. And there's some people who are out there purposely to drain you, purposely to manipulate you to do all these things to you. They are looking for targets. Now, you can say, well, you know, oh, you know, well then why should I do this and why should I do that? Let me just tell you this. This is the natural food chain, okay? This is the natural chain of events on as far as animals on this planet. And humans are, I would say humans are the worst animals on this planet will ever see, okay? Every other animal knows what it's here to do, and it acts within its code. We're the only ones who we do everything for sport. We kill for sport, we lie for sport. Anyway, don't get me started, but you can get my idea, okay? So as a natural witch, you are going to want to separate yourself from other people. You're gonna have to know how to, once you start seeing that you have power, you're gonna have to learn how to taper it, how to temper it. You're gonna have to really be emotionally stable. You're gonna have to really be emotionally strong, because you'll go out here and you'll start leveling people out. You can't do that. You can't be throwing curses. There's so many, it's so easy. When people realize they got power, they start throwing curses. Well, I'm gonna take this person's man, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna get this person fired, I'm gonna do this. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's why I don't even bother teaching people like dark magic and stuff like that, because it's too much to even teach. And whether you or not you believe in karma, that's up to you. That's another video. However, let's just say the universe keeps a balance and nature keeps a balance of its own. It keeps score and it keeps a balance. Okay. All right. So like I said about being a natural witch, you have to replenish yourself. Maybe other people, because their energy is outside of their body, and it's in the candle, it's in the cross that they wear, it's in the outfit, where I feel holy when I wear this outfit. If that's the case, they can go out there 7 days a week, because it's not depleting from here. But when you are a natural witch, all of your power is in here. It's here. People can spot you when you walk somewhere, no matter what you're wearing. They know it's something different about you. They can't quite put their finger on it, but they know it's something different about you. When they stand next to you, they feel something with you. You draw people to you, okay? And it's not always a great thing. And most of the times, especially nowadays, it's not a great thing. But people will sense it, because that power is from within, okay? You're going to have to, so if you're going to get on this path, there's a lot. And I'm sure that there are some elders that you can find who will walk you through this path. But I think I've given you in this video, it's about 45 minutes, 41 minutes long. I think I've given you a great foundation in which to start, okay? In which to begin your journey on the path. And it's still a journey, no matter how long, 40, 50 years, whatever, how long you've been on the path, or, you know, in this part of the world, or this part of the thought and energy movement, you never stop learning. It's a journey for us all, okay? So again, I'm gonna close out this video because it is long. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you have not. Enjoy my Patreon. We're gonna have a lot of fun over there, and I will be over there on Sunday, going a little bit deeper about my experiences and talking about some healing things and all of that, okay? See you soon. Bye.